Hello, this is News Desk, and I am Samuel Kojo Brace. Coming up this Ghana records more deaths from fire incidents in first half of 2025. We have details as injuries through fire incidents also surge in 2025. We'll have a conversation with the Ghana National Fire Service here on News Desk. Also coming up, Ghana Police Service warns against the growing trend of firearms at public events and traditional festivals. We've got details as they vow swift action against offenders. And we've got updates from the National Science and Maths quiz, plus some business updates as well. Do stay for details. Well, in our first story today, there's been an increase in fire-related deaths in the first half of 2025, moving from 12 in 2024 to 16 in 2025. Injuries through fire incidents have also shot up to 110 in 2025 compared to 30 in 2024. Now, let's run you through the statistics as captured from the report by the National Fire Service as we've gotten them here. At the Joy Newsroom. We'll share that with you shortly, but on your screens now is what we do know. Now, for fire incident from January to June 2024 compared to 2025, we recorded 3,576 in 2024 from January to June. Now, in the same period in 2025, we recorded an increase. So it's now 3,595, an increase of about 0.53%. That's 19 more incidents were recorded more than 2024. Now, if you talk about the regional breakdown, we've had the highest incident happening in the Greater Accra region, which has recorded some 628 fire incidents. Ashanti region has recorded 581. Central region recorded 408, with the Northeast region recording some 10 fire incidents there. Let's then talk about, the sort of deaths and injuries that we have recorded so far from this. In terms of, death and injuries, if you look at 2024, we recorded 30 injuries and had 12 deaths in 2025. Now, in the same period in 2025, we've had 110 injuries with 16 deaths. So really, that's a huge gap there. Now, for properties that have been salvaged, from fire incident between January and June 2024 and June and 2025, they've salvaged over 203 million Ghana cedis. That's the properties that they've tried their best to ensure that they do not, get damaged. Okay. Now, when you talk about prank calls, because always the fire service has been talking about the impact of prank calls on their ability to fight fires. People call them, there's fire here. When they get there, there's none. In 2024, they recorded 364,020. Now, for 2025, there's been a massive reduction, and they recorded 237,470. So a reduction of 34.7%. That's good. So it means that we're making some progress. Let's continue so we can eliminate that. But what are the causes of fire incidents from January to June 2025? What they found is that one is the electrical faults from illegal connections. A lot of people are engaging in illegal connections, and that is causing a lot of fires. Overloading of circuits, power surges, and poor wiring. So as for power surges, you can hold the ECG accountable, but for poor wiring, you need to ask yourself, who is wiring my infrastructure for me? The number two, factor is improper use of electrical appliances, including overloading sockets or extension boards. 3, unattended cooking, especially involving gas cylinders, electric stoves, and coal pot fires. So people will be cooking, but they will leave them unattended to. That's what is causing a lot of these fires that we're witnessing, especially in marketplaces. Well, 4, careless use of lit candles, mosquito coils, incense, lighters, matches, and other forms of naked fire. So how do you take care of the fires that you lit in your homes. Again, gas leakages and careless handling of LPG gas cylinders is one major cause of fires. 6, indiscriminate bush and vegetation burning, especially during the dry season. Anytime I see this, I ask myself, do people really know what they're doing? But these are the causes of fires, from January to June 2025, as recorded by the Ghana National Fire Service. Now, number 7 on the causes, you have poor maintenance of vehicles and road crashes, which lead to fires. Number 8, disregard for safety protocols during hot works, such as welding. And 9, deliberate act and arson. So some people intentionally decide to burn some places, and that is also part of the major causes of fire recorded from January to June 2025. Let's now engage public relations officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO2 Desmond Aka. He joins us on via Zoom now. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us. So, having seen all of these factors, about the death, let's start from the causal factors there. What are you doing to ensure that the trend changes?
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me. We want to appreciate Ghanaians, especially a section of the public who have actually gotten the concept of fire safety and are taking proactive measures to keep their lives and their properties safe from the ravages of fire. Looking at the statistics, about 30% of the fires that we fought were handled by members of the general public. Due to the fact that we deliberately set out on a course to empower them. And some of them have been able to, catch the message and are now willing to take the bull by the horn to deal with nascent fires. And that is how come we're able to salvage properties to the tune of over 203 million for this half year, as against a little over 70 million the same period last year. And another good piece of news that we have there is the constant drop in the prank calls that we have been recording over the period. We highlighted on the fact that it causes us a lot in terms of not being able to send out our emergency services to people who need our help. And I believe that that has actually helped us to save more lives. It is quite unfortunate that this particular period, we recorded more deaths. It appears that a lot more people think that the fires are not closer to them. They are immune to fires, and therefore they do not give proper attention to their own fire safety. And that is what we have set, or we are set on course to change in the coming months, that people would have to incorporate safety gadgets, fire-rated devices in their property, such that if there is any fire, they could easily escape, and then would also safeguard their property as well. So we would do well to educate Ghanaians on how to even present their drawings to us, for them to even receive this kind of technical advice as to what will go into creating enough exit depending on the use of the facility, and then what will go into its construction, just as to save or to protect the property in the first place, and then also to safeguard the people who are going to live in that property. But if you look at the causes, most of the causes are anthropogenic. They are out of our own negligence and our careless use of either electricity or gas or other forms of naked light, except a few which are of natural causes. Sometimes there could be a rainstorm because our electrical systems are compromised. Whenever there is any lightning strike, it exposes our electrical are compromised electrical systems to some of these fire issues. And for that, we understand. And then there have been some few occasions where people would want to settle scores. People would want to, deliberately set people's property on fire and all that. And we have also been able to investigate fires to come up with such issues. And so it all boils down to the fact that we need to be able to change the narrative and then to help the people to understand the issues well. But if we are also not supported with the needed resources that we need to be able to have so that we can reach the unreached plains to send the gospel according to fire safety to them, I mean, that is going to be a Herculean task. And I need to be able to commend the government of the day for helping us with at least some 15 utility vehicles and 5 motorbikes, which is going to go a long way to help us to establish some rapid response teams, especially along our major highways. Because if you have been following us,
we're going to get there, but once you are there, let's stay there. If you talk about utility vehicles, what are you looking? Are these the fire hydrants that we've been speaking about in the past?
No, what we want to do with the utility vehicles, we need utility vehicles which are mounted with PA systems, which would help us to be able to go to the communities, engage the market folks, go to the lorry parks, and then give them the gospel of fire safety. You know, in many of the cases, because we are challenged, we are not that mobile, it becomes very difficult for us to send the message across to the length and breadth of this country. And there are some areas that you cannot even reach with even a vehicle. You need to be able to go with a motorbike. And we are fortunate to have received some motorbikes, which is going to help us to be able to go to the hinterlands. Because if you look at the figures, bushfires this year went a little bit up, owing to the fact that there's climate change and its attendant effect is also having a toll on us. And that is also a contributing factor for us recording some marginal increase, especially during the first 3 months of the year when we experienced the Harmattan. And that led to a lot of bushfires being recorded. But the mitigation measure is that over 6,000 fire volunteers have been trained across the length and breadth of this country to engage the farmhands, the farmers, to be able to teach them best farming practices such that we'll be able to create the needed fire belts. If we have to do control burning, we'll supervise them to do that, such that there will be enough food to feed the local economy. So we will need these utility vehicles and other ancillary equipment like the motorbikes, just as to help us to be more visible, to be more engaging. Sometimes we would have to even show the people some pictorial evidence that this is what you do that leads to these fires. And these are how do you call it? It should come with some financial commitment. And we are ever ready to be able to receive them and work with them. So in as much as it is the sole responsibility of the government to retool us, I would also want to appeal to corporate Ghana that it is us who face the brunt of these fires. It is our businesses that these fires gut and destroy its property. And therefore, if we can also support the Ghana National Fire Service with these utility vehicles mounted with PA system, it will go a long way to help us. Currently,
but are these the major challenge confronting your ability to deal with fire outbreaks?
You see, this is one of the main challenges. It is one of the main challenges confronting us, because we believe that when we are able to empower the ordinary Ghanaian with contemporary safety knowledge, that Ghanaian will be in a position to put in place adequate safety measures in his or her premises, and will be able to also contain the fires as and when they come, especially at their initial stages. That is the goal of the fire service. Once we are able to do this, and we have an empowered society in terms of fire safety, I mean, we will not lose over 188 worth of property to these fires.
Okay.
Even if there will be fire, the impact will be very, very minimal. And that is what we want to drum home.
Okay.
Aside that, the other aspect has to do with when these measures have failed, because there are instances, no matter what you do, irrespective of the safety systems that you put in place, the fires would occur. They will spread rapidly depending on what is on fire. And that is where you would need us to respond. So if we are responding, and for a place like Kantamanto, or a place like Techiman Market, or any of the other makeshift markets, where accessibility is a problem, where they will not even wait for you to even advise them and to implement your kind of recommendation, whereby you would need the firefighting drones, of which Ghana National Fire Service, as I speak now, do not have a single one, where we will need multi-purpose fire engines, where we will need the aerial firefighting ladders to be able to go there, where we will need the aircraft that will be able to send the fire retardants and other firefighting extinguishing medium to be able to deal with the situation. Then it means that we are in trouble. As it stands now, within the next 2 years, if we are not supplied with new state-of-the-art robust fire engines, it means that we are going to face a lot of these fires that the Ghana National Fire Service will be helpless. And I know that the government of the day is very much aware of this. That is why they are making efforts to retool us. So in as much as we are waiting for those equipment, the new equipment to be procured for us, we are also doing our best. Our current chief fire officer and her management team are not resting on their on anything. They are trying as much as possible to fix the old fire trucks and engines, just as for us to be able to respond to any available emergency. Because they are old, every now and then they break. So we are using every peswa that we have to be fixing these fire engines. And I think that that is what we need to be commended. And that is something that Ghanaians should be able to hold us in high esteem in order not to vandalize our trucks when we come to their aid. Because the vehicles are not there. They are old and they are breaking down every now and then. So if we come and you think that per your estimation, we are late, and therefore you would take the law into your hands, vandalize the vehicle, assault our men, then we will apply the laws of the state to be able to nip that kind of negative behavior in the bud.
Okay.
So we will need the support.
It means people who attack you will be taken to court, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Once we get you, we will make sure the law applies.
But in terms of fire hydrants, you've mentioned there, what has your ministry told you in terms of agreeing to resource you to be able to deal with fires adequately?
Right. So the issue is this. For us to be able to get the fire hydrants working, one, we need to solve the Galamsey menace, because that is what is polluting our water bodies, especially the fresh water bodies. And you know that our hydrant is mainly boosted, or we get our water supply from these water sources. So if they are polluted, their turbidity increases. It is increasing the cost of production of these waters. And you know, Ghana Water has also told us that they cannot produce the waters in that desired or quantities or volumes that we need. And it's the same water that we use in our domestic premises that we use or that runs through a hydrant for firefighting. So if the Galamsey do not stop and we do not also resource Ghana Water adequately, then it means that they will also not be able to erect functional hydrants, which will be fit for purpose, like the pillar type or the barrel type, that will be not below the ground, but will be up. That will also curtail or forestall people encroaching on them. If we are able to do this as a state, then it means that we will get a lot more of this water being pumped through our main pipes at desired pressure, so that our fire hydrants will also be working. And then where they have not been able to extend their lines, they will also be able to do so that at any point in time, when we come to manage your fires, we will have enough water to be able to deal with the fire situation. But currently, as a service, what we've been able to do is that we are mounting mechanized boreholes in some of our stations. It is not all our stations that, per the assessment that they have done, they'll be able to get water from underground sources. So where we can mount or we can build these mechanized boreholes, I think we have done that. And then beyond that, the operational strategy is that for any particular fire, depending on its size and its spread, we mobilize, let's say, 2 or more fire tenders, and then some water tankers to supply constant water supply to be able to deal with the fire situation. So this is the real situation.
Okay.
If we don't stop the Galamsey and we don't resource Ghana water to be able to pump the required, to get the required volume of water to pump to our end and to reduce the operational costs, it means that the hydrant issue is going to be a challenge. But be as it may, I think that we also collaborate with the MMDAs to also help us to clamp down on people who are putting structures on our hydrants, because we need the hydrants to work. That is why we have recommended to Ghana Water to get us the pillar type, not the screw down type. Okay. The screw down type is below the earth surface, and people tend to put refuse. And then sometimes when there is heavy downpour and then runoffs, these runoffs also pass by, they carry debris and refuse and all that into those kind of crevices. So I think we have a lot to do. That is why the hydrant team have been commissioned, and they will do their best to ensure that all encroached hydrants will be made accessible. Quite recently in Techiman Market, we had to go and then dig out one of the hydrants which had been encroached by this shop owner. Yeah. And that for us was a good step. So we are going to continue with that. Our 9th market patrols.
How many of such have you recovered so far?
Oh, I've lost count. Actually, I've lost count. The last time I checked, we had recovered a little over 30. Okay. But the team is still they are ongoing with their work, and therefore, as and when we discover some of them, I think we need to. It is only fair that we need to make them available to you, so that it helps in this kind of discussions.
Okay. All right. So I actually wanted to ask about fire tenders. You know, you had a lot of issues with faulty fire tenders. I mean, last year and early part of the year when we were doing this national dialogue, there were a lot of your fire tenders that have broken down. And I wanted to find out from you what your ministry has done about it. I remember the Deputy Interior Minister was here and promised to do something about it. What has been the response from the ministry so far in terms of fire tenders for the service?
Well, we can only be optimistic, because if you look at the posture of our sector minister, even the President of the Republic, and then the Deputy Minister for Interior, I mean, the assurances keep on coming. And quite recently, we have received not less than 5 different companies come to, present to us their fleet of vehicles, the turntable ladders, the multi-purpose fire engines, the dual purpose, and then the other rapid intervention vehicles, and then the other equipment. And we are glad. So it is a matter of time. It's just a matter of time where we need to be able to agree on the number and the specifications, so that it takes a bit of time. So within the next few years, at least maximum 2 years, we need to be able to get these fleets of vehicles. But before then, we are ever ready to maintain what we have to serve the good people of Ghana.
Now, can you confirm for me, you said companies have presented some vehicles to you. Is that what you said?
Yes, they've come to present their specifications to us. And you know, the manufacturing of fire tender is no joke. You don't get the parts from one source. So you need to get your specifications right, so that they would outsource the various components and then use it to build to our specification. And that is where we have got into. So within maybe by the end of this month, we should be done with that phase, whereby the procurement processes would commence. And that would also take a while for the winning company to be able to assemble the needed equipment to build the kind of engines that will work or that will suit our terrain for us.
Okay, interesting. Now, earlier you were talking about the construction of mechanized boreholes. How many have you done so far, if you know the number?
Well, I will not be able to tell you, but offhand, I know some stations that we have done. So I think I would have to cross-check and then to be able to give you the exact figure.
Okay.
But in Ashanti region, for let's say for the past 4 years, I remember we were able to do not less than 5 in some of the stations, which met all the conditions for those mechanized boreholes to be put up.
The increase in death from January to June 2025, is it because of the increase in number of fire incidents, or have you found out that there's a certain factor which is contributing to the number of people who are dying from fire outbreaks?
Well, it could be as a result of multiple of factors.
Okay.
You know, sometimes when people are in distress and then there is a bit of delay, you know, we are also not everywhere. And per our current situation, it may even happen that the closest station may have its fire engine broken down. And therefore, a different station would have to come from a far distant location. And that would definitely lead to some of these things. One of the major factors of people also dying through fires is that they have neglected their own safety. I mean, if you barricade yourself in hardcore burglar proofing without any escape route, without any collapsible or fitting in any collapsible kind of burglar proofing, when it happens like that, I mean, you get trapped and you have nowhere to pass. And therefore, the smoke would make them weak, and then they would asphyxiate, fall before the fire will come and burn them. Other times too, there are people who may be sick, maybe based on their condition or based on their age. When the fire occurred, I mean, they could not help themselves, and therefore they were burnt in the unfortunate situation. So the factors could be more. That is why we are advocating for MMDAs to establish fire stations closer to the community, because anytime we are able to make the international response time of, let's say, between 4 to 6 minutes, we are better positioned to save any kind of savable life in that particular situation. So once we are closer to the people, anytime they call on us, no matter the circumstance, we are able to save life.
But how do you want more stations built closer to the communities when you don't have fire tenders?
You see, Rome was not built in a day. So the first step is that the station must be put up with all the facilities and the appliance bay. As and when we get a tender, once there are human resources that are trained or that have been trained and they are ever committed to get the job done, even if they don't have the tender and they have the equipment, when they are called upon, they could go to the scene, I mean, extricate and then get people out, rather than establishing the stations further away from the people. Okay. And then response time will be delayed and people will be found trapped in fires. And so that is the point we are making. Okay. Once the stations are put up, definitely, once we get the vehicles, we will supply that particular stations without. So I'm grateful. At any point in time, we'll be able to. Thank you for having me.
I'm grateful. The DO2 Desmond Aka is the PRO for the Ghana Fire Service. Now, away from that, the Ghana Police Service is condemning the increasing use of firearms at public gatherings, including derbys, traditional festivals, and other social events. The service has described the trend as dangerous and unlawful, cautioning that such acts threaten public safety and the peace of communities. The police say they will not hesitate to arrest and prosecute individuals or groups found displaying or discharging weapons during public events. Superintendent Juliana Obeng is the head of public affairs at the Ghana Police Service.
The Ghana Police Service has issued a stern warning about the growing trend of firing guns at public events such as festivals and ceremonies, citing it as illegal and a threat to public safety. In a media briefing earlier today, the police service described the development as not only illegal, but also a direct threat to public safety and community peace. Superintendent Julian Obeng is head of public affairs for the Ghana Police Service in the Greater Accra region.
So there are rules and regulations surrounding possession and the use of firearms, and anybody who's come to the police to request or to get one has thoroughly gone through that process. Having said that, I think that we all should be part in engaging the general public on the use, the education, on the use of firearms and the risk involved if you are not in lawful possession of it.
Recent incidents, including a student's death in Bimbila, the murder of a Queen Mother in Gbawe, and a journalist's near-fatal eye injury, have been linked to celebratory gunfire. The police says a key suspect in the death of Queen Mother Peona Dodua is assisting with investigations.
Acting on intelligence from the Accra Regional Police Intelligence Team, a team was dispatched and moved swiftly to Asokore, where we arrested Gilbert Awuni alias Starboy, his 21 years, and an Okada rider, and a resident of Denchua here in Accra. He has confessed to the crime during interrogation that he fired the weapon in display under the influence of alcohol and fled the scene thereafter. Efforts are underway to recover the firearm which he claimed to have discarded after the incident.
Meanwhile, the Small Arms Commission is urging Parliament to pass and implement the proposed Small Arms and Light Weapons Bill. The bill is expected to help tighten regulation and control the circulation.
Journalist Dr. Victor Doke is joining us for a conversation on this. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining. Really, we've spoken about this over the years. What do we need to do now to ensure that we nip this in the bud?
Well, first of all, the Small Arms Commission talking about the bill which has to be passed to enforce regulation and, as an institution, regards to oversight when it comes to small arms proliferation. Now, aside the legal won't do now with regards to okay, how many people in it we have. It's going to be tough.
Doc, I don't know where you are, but the line keeps breaking and it's affecting the flow of the conversation. So I don't know if you can
hear me?
So. Yeah, let's try again.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yes, better.
Right. So I was saying that apart from the legal aspect side, which has to be expedited, we are looking at how we can, put in a short-term measure to get this illegal, firing of weapons in festivals, funerals, and whatnot. Now, what about we having a system, monitoring the system to know how many festivals we have, okay, in the country, and then collectively engage the stakeholders, the chiefs, or whoever it is that we need to engage, have a dialogue with them, and then let them know the illegal aspects of what? Firing weapons or firing weapons. Individuals who think that their association with a particular festival have the right to fire weapons. I think we need this education and sensitization against the use of illegal weapons. Aside that, we need the sensitization through the media to also go through, because other than that, the citizens will not know that acquiring a weapon goes through a lot of processes. So if I acquire a weapon and do not have the permit to carry it, I have to answer to the law if anything goes bad. I think in the short term, we need to monitor the system, know which festivals are in place, and then even take the initial steps. So security services must take the initial steps, engage the stakeholders who are about to celebrate the festival. We have Omowo coming up very soon. How are we going to engage the stakeholders to let them know that these firearms are not supposed to be fired? Those who have in possession illegal firearms are not supposed to fire them. There's a process to go through to have certification to carry firearms. We all know that in celebration of festivals and funerals, there is a musketry that is used, whereby the gunpowder is what is used, okay, as an ammunition. But now, things have evolved. Either the cost of maintaining those musketries is high now, so people think that they can use the firearms in winter, contrary to the use of the musket. So I think this sensitization should go through to the people. So let's use the upcoming Home War Festival as a case. How will the Arms Commission, how will the police service deal with the illegal firing of arms in this festival so we don't have any casualty again?
All right. I hope that we take that and are able to implement it and see how we can. But again, in the era of social media, we've seen a lot of people brandish these weapons in festivals and so on social media. Setting someone as a scapegoat, is that not the way to go? Yeah. Can't we use someone, as an example to people to say, when you do it and we catch you, we'll deal with you?
It is very much so. You can use that. I think it's happened before where, right now the gentleman who fired the weapon that killed the Queen Mother husband was arrested. Those who brandish firearms on social media also have to be picked up. The cyber security unit of the police service there, now they do a lot of work with regards to apprehending the culprits in a matter of time. So then, you should come out also and tell us what has been done, prosecution and whatnot. And this will also definitely serve as a deterrent for those who think that brandishing firearms on social media is a norm. And so we do these things. We take stringent measures, and then we don't relegate on our responsibilities with regard to ensuring the peace and security of citizens. These youths who are coming up and thinking that some lifestyle is a norm would definitely go ahead because the law is not catching up to them. So I think from now till the end of the year, there's a lot that the security services can do together with the Arms Commission. I think when we come up, we have a roadmap, okay? Use the upcoming festivals as a case. We will get somewhere.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you. Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst.
Thank you very much.
But from here, let me take you to Ablekuma North because the new Patriotic Party is holding a news conference there to state its position on the intended rerun of 19 police stations by the Electoral Commission. And the party is there now. Let me join my colleague James Aveji, who is on ground, to let us in on what is happening in Ablekuma North. So, James, if you can hear me, please give us an update or a brief of what's happening and take it away from us.
So far, a number of party supporters have already gathered here at the office of the 2024 parliamentary candidate of the NPP, Nana Akua-Afriyie, ahead of that scheduled press conference. The press conference was supposed to kickstart at 10 a.m., but as we speak, it is yet to start. But the party supporters are here to give their support to the position of the party as well as the candidate ahead of Friday. So this is just a section of them. There are a few of them also outside the premises waiting on party officials to arrive and address the media on what message they have for them. We would want to interact with them, but there has been a strict directive from the organizer at the constituency level that no one should speak to the media until we hear from the leadership of the party. Then they cannot engage the media to also express their view on what is happening. That's the reason why we cannot engage any of them to speak to them. But just to the merits of the issue that has been filed yesterday, we cited that court document, about 38-page court document filed by the candidate herself, Nana Akua-Afriyie, at the High Court in Accra. And she has been citing a number of issues. Basically, she cited a High Court directive of 4th January 2025, which directs the Electoral Commission to complete the coalition process and not do a rerun. It is on the basis of that they provided a 29-paragraph affidavit by the candidate herself, raising a few concerns. Three critical amongst them is the fact that the EC's decision to rerun, and indeed if the EC goes ahead to rerun the elections in the 19 polling stations on Friday, will be a gross violation of the directive of the judge who sat on the case on the 4th of January 2025. Two, that any rerun will be against Regulation 42 of the CI 127, which actually generally governs elections across the country, which only provides for a rerun when there is a tie in these elections. And so there is no tie, and so the EC's decision to go ahead for a rerun in the 19 polling stations will be a violation of this Regulation 42 of the CI 127. And finally, that this the 10th point is that the EC's reliance on unverified scanned pink sheet is also a violation of the election regulation. And so those are the three key concerns that NQFRE raised in that court document we cited as of yesterday, filed at the Accra High Court at exactly 2:25 p.m. It is also important to know that the court is yet to set a date to sit on the matter, and so we are unclear whether the court will be doing that between now and Friday to place an injunction on the scheduled Friday, July 11 election rerun. But as far as the party is concerned, they've raised some concerns. We'll be also looking forward to know the party's position if the EC decides to go ahead with a rerun, whether or not they will be partaking in it or not. And so those are the key expectations we have ahead of that. And so we are here, we are expecting either the party's General Secretary, Justin Kodua, or his deputy, Haruna Mohammed, to be addressing the press in some few minutes to tell us what exactly they are up to today, between today and Friday. Brace.
All right, so that's my colleague James Kwesi Aveji there. We will be bringing you that particular news conference from the office of the parliamentary candidate of the MPP in the Ablekuma North constituency. About time now for the National Science and Maths quiz. And we have our reporters across the country, but let's start from Aldubia Asai, who is in the Central Region monitoring the competition there.
Hi, Brace. Good morning. How are you doing?
I am well, Aldubia. So, yes, what can you tell us this morning? What's the latest?
Well, before I come to this morning, the Central Regional Qualifiers for the 2025 National Science and Maths Quiz continues in full force. Okay, yesterday we saw some very interesting contests. The reigning regional champions were here and they demonstrated why they are reigning regional champions. It was just beautiful watching their contest. My favorite part of their contest was the speed race and the riddles. They didn't even allow their contenders to ring one bell. Adizadel boys would ring the bell even before the quiz mistress will be done asking the question, and they'll actually get the answer right. It was just beautiful watching that showdown. Unfortunately for Holy Child School too, yesterday they were kicked out by Winneba Senior High. And because they didn't even score 40 points, they won't make it to the national championship this year too. Edina Man also managed to win for themselves a slot yesterday. Now, today, 3 spots are up for grabs and 12 schools are going to compete for those 3 slots. But of course, only 3 are going to be able to make it. The first contest is underway, and the second round has ended already. It's between University Practice, Mando Senior High Technical School, in Saba Presby, and Senya. Now, University Practice is in a comfortable lead because they have 30 points as at now. No, that's 39. Then Senya follows with 27, Mando 15, and in Sabah 30. They are 13. They are answering their questions and they are answering bonus questions as well. So things look very promising for them. I wanted to say it's early days yet, but with the way things are going, it's kind of obvious that they're going to win this contest. But let's just see how things go. There's a lot of surprises in NSMQ. So we are wishing them all the best, and may the best school win, Grace.
I mean, I love the Edinaman lady you spoke to in that particular interview you played this morning.
Yeah, she was their head girl. She carries grace, and I mean, she speaks very well.
She's awesome. But haven't you come across any story like that of the Aguna Yakrum story you shared with us the other day? That was an inspiring story.
Yeah, very beautiful. Well, not really. I just get saddened when I see some of these contestants crying when they are not able to make it. But just to be sensitive, I don't go with my cameras in their face because they're already in pain. I don't need to go in. So I talk to them off camera and I try to encourage them. It's just a competition. Someone has to go and someone has to win. So, but it's been quite interesting so far. I'm enjoying the whole thing.
Okay. And also by the fact that you are in the University of Cape Coast, you are enjoying the scenery as well. So you can continue enjoying the UCC for us, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then. So that's Adobe Asari there, joining us from the University of Cape Coast, where the Central Regional Competition is underway. Let's see who makes it or make it to the nationals of the National Science and Maths quiz there. Would take a break here. When we return, we have more for you here on News Desk.
Welcome back to Business on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and as for first business story, government has recapitalized National Investment Bank with some 1.4 billion cedis. The move, sources say, is part of effort to put the bank on a strong footing. Judge Wiafe has the rest of the story.
The support is coming in the form of cash and government papers like bonds to assist the bank. The National Investment Bank was one of the financial institutions that was recently identified as needing some fresh funding to support its expansion and operations. The action by government should go a long way to put the bank on a strong footing. It was one of those critical actions that government should have undertaken before it could have gone to the IMF board for the fourth program review. One is not sure for now whether similar support will be extended to other financial institutions that government also has some significant stake in them.
In other development, the ECOWAS Bank of Investment and Development, EBID, has dismissed claims that its agreement with engineers and planners over the acquisition of the Blackwater Gold Project is politically motivated. Speaking at the signing ceremony of a $130 million facility agreement involving EBID, engineers and planners, and Azuma Resource Ghana Limited, President of the bank, Dr. George Donko, emphasized the project's economic significance. Here is more in this report.
The Blackwater Gold Project, located in Ghana's Upper West region, is expected to generate significant economic impact through local job creation, community development initiatives, and increased export revenue. Dr. George Donko used the occasion to urge the government of Ghana and other key partners to provide stronger backing for the mining sector.
And so, engineers and planners, being one of our good customers, we decided that we should be involved in the acquisition of this Blackwater project. And as he said, we started about 2 years ago. So it means that all the due diligences and all those have taken place. So please, let us be mindful of this. As Dr. Samjona said, this project has nothing to do with politics. Please take note of that. Nothing. Two years ago, Mr. Ibrahim's brother was not in power at all. And we started in 2023. By the grace of God, we are almost there. And today is the historic signing of this very, very important project.
Sir Samjona called for more effort to support Ghanaian-owned mining companies.
And I repeat, let us be clear. This is not a favor. There is no political patronage here. This is not crony capitalism. This is not about friends and family. The deal we are witnessing here today was actually initiated as far back as 2023, October, with no fanfare, no interference, and no backroom dealings. It is, in every sense of the word, a commercial transaction built on merit, backed by a strong balance sheet.
Legal counsel for the engineers and planners, Bobby Banson, also has been speaking about the deal.
In October 2023, a formal agreement was signed between engineers and planners and the shareholders of Azuma Resources for engineers and planners to acquire all the interest of the shareholders in Azuma Resources for $100 million. Per the agreement, that $100 million was supposed to have been paid by June. All of the $100 million was supposed to have been paid by June 30th, 2026. Now, engineers and planners approached EBID, which is the ECOWAS Bank for Investment in West Africa, and said, give us the $100 million for us to go and pay Azuma, the shareholders, based on the agreement that we signed with them.
The agreement marks a major step forward in advancing the project development, reinforcing the role of public-private partnerships in driving sustainable economic progress across the ECOWAS region.
We have more business update for you on myjournalonline.com/business. That's all. My name is Winston Taki. Up next, we take a break. We have more news after this.
And that's our package for you on News Desk. There's more on myjoyonline.com. Go there and find all the latest stories and reports we do have. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace to enjoy the rest of our shows.